Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome into this week's edition of my top waiver wire ads and streamable defenses for week 8. I can't believe we're pretty much already at the halfway point of the year. I know with the 17 game schedule, it's probably in a couple weeks technically for being the halfway point of the season, but still, Halloween's next Monday. It's crazy how fast the fall always flies by every football season. But why don't I just go ahead and get into today's video? I'm sure most of you that are return visitors of my YouTube channel, you already know what to expect. But as I always like to do, just in case we have any first-time visitors, I am going to be giving you guys my top quarterback ad of the week, running back ad of the week, wide receiver ad, tight end ad, and my top flex ad. Now, the names I'm about to go over for you, they had to have at least 50% roster availability per Yahoo league. So that means there's a good chance, at least in one or two of your leagues out there, that these names should be on the waiver wire for you to pick up and add to your roster before this next set of games. So why don't I just go ahead and dive right into how I always do it, starting with the quarterback position. Yeah, my top ad of the week, I'm going to go with Daniel Jones. He's available in 60% of the leagues this year. Even though he doesn't have the greatest surrounding cast as far as wide receivers and tight ends, he has been putting up some numbers throughout the season. This past week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he had 202 passing yards, a touchdown, and what you love about Daniel Jones, he gives you a rushing floor because of his mobility. He had 11 rushes for 107 yards and a touchdown. Now, I'm not expecting to have to run the ball more than 10 times a game, but when all these wide receivers are going to continue to be hurt for him, they're going to have to rely on his mobility to go with Saquon, right? So he's going to give you that higher rushing floor, which gives you a better floor as a quarterback. And then if you're maybe, the Chiefs and the Chargers are on a bye this week, so maybe you're a team manager of either Patrick Mahomes or Justin Herbert, you're looking for a streaming option. If Daniel Jones is out there, I think this is the week to go pick him up and at least play him this week. They're going against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks give up 18.2 points per game to the quarterback position. That is the 12th most across the NFL. So if he at least hits that mark and everything remains the same how it has been in the first 7 weeks, he'll at least be a top quarterback 1 in 12 quarterback leagues for you, based on the matchup. So yeah, if you're looking for a quarterback to stream this week, I think Daniel Jones is going to be your man. My running back ad of the week, I'm going to go with Gus the Bus Edwards, the new Ravens starting running back. If you guys are unaware, J.K. Dobbins was placed on IR prior to last week's game. If you go on IR, you have to miss a minimum of 4 games. So he missed this past week since he was placed on IR prior to the game. So that means Edwards will miss at least the next 3 games for Dobbins will miss at least the next 3 games for the Ravens. So that means it's going to be Edwards' backfield. Now, yes, Kenyon Drake is there, but the thing is, they've paid Gus Edwards money. So as I've said before in the past on my videos, you want to follow the money sometimes in the NFL, especially with fantasy. And plus, he's been productive in their backfield. He knows their system, so he's going to dominate the touches out of the backfield. Now, when you look what he did this past week, he had 16 rushes for 66 yards and those 2 touchdowns. He had 0 receptions on 1 target, so yeah, maybe you do want to see him more involved in the passing game, but still at the end of the day, if you include that 1 target, they look to get the ball in his hands 17 times. That's volume, right? That's what you're looking for, and he's in a run-heavy offense. Now, it is bye week, so maybe you're missing an Austin Eckler, maybe one of those Chiefs running backs. So maybe you might want to stream him if you pick him up, but I wouldn't necessarily rush to play him this week. They are playing Thursday night against the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are only giving up 14.9 points per game to running backs this year. That's the 6th fewest allowed to the position. But then again, we just saw the Panthers run the ball over that Bucs defense. So who is this Bucs defense at this point? So I totally get it if you play him. He's going to get the volume. But he's definitely worth the roster ad, especially if you need running backs. And I'm just kind of warning you guys as far as this week, he does technically have a tough matchup on deck. Moving on to my wide receiver ad. I will be honest with you, I was more excited about picking him up when Matt Ryan was the quarterback. But Paris Campbell, he's available in 96% of the leagues. Now, this past weekend against the Titans, he had 10 receptions for 70 yards and a touchdown on 12 targets. When you look at the last 2 games, he's gotten at least 11 plus targets. You guys know I jump for joy anytime I see double-digit targets. And he's been playing like 97 to 99% of the snaps throughout the season, he just wasn't getting looks his way. Now he started to get looks his way this past week. Now here's the thing, I am going to be honest, and this doesn't just apply to Campbell, this also applies to Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman Jr. Obviously there is a quarterback change with Sam Ehlinger. This Colts offense is going to look totally different from him. He's a different style quarterback. He's more of a mobile quarterback, but I mean Sam did do some good things with his arm back in the preseason. Now I understand that is preseason football, that is not regular season football. We don't know how this offense is going to look going forward. But I still think Campbell's worth an ad because, like I said, he's been playing like 97% of the offensive snaps. That's not going to change. He's still going to be on the field. Now, if you need to play him this week, because maybe the Chargers on the bye, they have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen you might be missing. The Chiefs, if you got one of the Chiefs wide receivers. This week, they're going against the Washington Commanders, who are giving up 24.9 points per game against wide receivers. That's the seventh most in the NFL. So if you want to take the gamble, he's got the matchup. But let's also keep in mind, next week, there's going to be 6 teams on a bye. And the 2 weeks after that, each of those weeks, there's going to be 4 teams on a bye. So we're about to see a heavy bye schedule come in. So you do have to plan ahead. So maybe you don't need a wide receiver this week. Look ahead. Maybe you're going to need a wide receiver this next week. So maybe you pick up Campbell, stash him on your bench, and then with Ehlinger at the quarterback position, if he's still getting like at least 8+ targets and for the 3rd game in a row, then he's going to probably be worth a play in the following week. My tight end out of the week, I'm going to go with Mike Gesicki. He's available in 59% of the leagues. Just like the quarterback waiver wire ads, my tight end waiver wire ads, I don't know if they're going to be the answer for you long term, but I do think they can at least be a short-term answer for you. Now, for Mike Gesicki, the reason why, you look at this past week, he did have major production, right? He only had 3 receptions for 27 yards, but he got those 7 targets. And as I always say with tight ends, I'm looking for 7 to 9 targets at minimum for the guys I'm willing to roll my dice on. So each of the last 2 games, Gesicki has gotten at least 7 targets. Then you turn around and look at the matchup. He's going against the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are giving up 10.3 points per game to tight ends this year. That's the 4th most in the NFL. So that's a great matchup as well. Now, one thing I kind of is a little caveat with Gesicki why he might be worth an ad, because not only I think he's a good streaming option this week, maybe he could turn into a long-term play not only with Miami, but his name has been rumored as far as being on the trade block. And if my memory serves me right, the trade deadline should be next Tuesday. I think it's next Tuesday. It might be the following Tuesday. It might be wrong, but I want to say it's next Tuesday. If all of a sudden Gesicki gets traded into a favorable position, and then you know the team that traded for him is going to use him, then maybe all of a sudden you got a sneaky tight end 1 going forward. So that's something to keep in mind if you end up picking him up to at least stream him this week based on the matchup. My flex out of the week, I'm going with D'Onta Foreman. One of the new backs are going to be in that running back by committee there in Carolina. He's available in 51% of the leagues. In the first game without Christian McCaffrey, he had the 15 rushes for 118 yards. He had 2 receptions for 27 yards on 2 targets. Now, he's going to be splitting the backfield with Chuba Hubbard. I do think it's going to fluctuate every week. I'm not sure if Foreman's going to be a trustworthy option, but based on him getting 17 touches alone, he's worth a roster ad. And then like I just said before, we're about to see a lot of buys coming over these next 3 weeks. So you have to plan ahead for that as well. And then if you want to look at maybe playing him this week, I guess Atlanta's kind of a tough matchup for running backs. They're only giving up 16 points per game to running backs in fantasy this year. That's the 9th fewest across the NFL. But then you look at his volume. So if you need a running back this week, I would definitely consider playing him. But yeah, he's definitely worth a bench ad, and then you can kind of use him throughout these bye weeks going forward. So again, my quarterback ad of the week, Daniel Jones. My running back ad of the week, Gus Edwards. My wide receiver ad of the week, Paris Campbell. My tight end ad of the week, Mike Gesicki. And then my flex ad of the week is D'Onta Foreman. Moving over to the top streamable defenses, as always, guys, these defenses, they have to have at least 50% roster availability on Yahoo leagues. So these are defenses that should be out there for you to pick from if you need to. My top streamable defense, though, of the week, I'm going to go with those Titans against the Texans. The Titans, there's a physical defense, and they're going against one of the worst teams in the NFL. Pretty simple, right? When you got Jeffrey Simmons, Bud Dupree, and Danico Autry up front against that Texans offensive line, I like the chances that they can bottle up Damian Pierce and make this, make the Texans beat them through the air, and that's where they can maybe generate those turnovers. I'm looking more for the sacks and not allowing the Texans to score a lot of points, and that's why I think they are the top streaming defense in that's available with their 59% availability. If I did not say that, by the way. Now, these next four teams. It's just two different games, and I think you can just pick on whatever defense that you'd like to. My second one though, the Colts against the Commanders. The Colts are available in 64% of the leagues. Listen, that Colts offense sucks. Just to be brutally honest, as a Colts fan, but the defense has been awesome this season. I mean, against the Titans, they only gave up 12 points. The final score is 19-0 because Matt Ryan threw that pick six. But when you look at the matchup, and why I think it's favorable is, the Colts defense has been playing really good football over the past month and like a half. And then when you look at the Commanders' offensive line, it's really banged up in the middle of the offensive line. Grover Stewart is playing awesome, and so is DeForest Buckner. Those guys are about to eat up the middle of that Washington Commanders offensive line. So that can help bottle up that run, and then that's going to help Yannick Ngakoue get those one-on-one matchups. And we'll see if Kwity Paye can play this week or not. But I think they're going to be able to generate pressure and get those sacks on Taylor Heinicke. Heinicke, yeah, he's a fun story. He can be a fun watch at times, but he still threw a pick last week. He can be there for the turnovers, right? So there's going to be those pick opportunities, especially if the pocket is collapsing on him early and he's having to scramble a lot often and making quicker decisions. And then that's where you can see the Colts try to create those turnovers on Sunday. Then flip it to the other side. The Commanders' defense against the Colts. I got to be honest. The Commanders are available in 95% of the leagues. Listen, the Colts aren't scoring a lot of points. They start off terrible. I didn't look at how the points per game has changed, but they've been basically the lowest scoring team in the NFL. They might still be there. Maybe they climbed up to second or third, but I can tell you right now, they're in the bottom 5 scoring offenses in the NFL. Now, their offensive line is not that great. They're going against a really good defensive front with Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Montez Sweat. Those guys are going to be able to blow up things. Now, we'll have to see how Sam Ehlinger deals with that, but that leads to my next point. As much faith as maybe I can try to tell myself that it's going to work out with Sam Ehlinger, the guy didn't have the greatest arm coming in. He definitely has improved. I can go on a different tangent on that, which is this is not a Colts podcast. It's a fantasy podcast. But with that being said, it's going to be his first start. He's going to make mistakes. He's probably going to turn the ball over a time or two, maybe in this game. So I think the sack potential there is there, as well as the turnover potential with the Commanders' defense. Moving into the next two teams that are playing against each other, I'm going with starting off with the Falcons against the Panthers. The Falcons are available in 97% of the leagues, and this is basically strictly on it's the Panthers offense. Sure, the Panthers did upset the Bucs somehow. I don't know how that happened, but with that being said, that doesn't scare me from streaming a defense if I need to. Obviously, if you're going to play the Falcons defense, you're probably going to be in a 12 or 14 team league. I don't think you have to reach that far to that type of defense unless you're in these deeper leagues and you're desperate for a stream. But yeah, just basically because the Panthers offense is not great. They just traded away Christian McCaffrey. DJ Moore is literally their only they got some other guys, but he's literally their only legit threat. So if they can take him away and somehow bottle up that running attack by them, I can see where the Falcons can get some sacks and some turnovers throughout the matchup. And then you flip it to the other side, the Panthers against the Falcons. I see what the Falcons are doing, but I'm still not the biggest believer. I said that last week when I told you guys I thought the Bengals were a good streaming defense. And the Panthers, what I like about them is they got some guys on their defense. Brian Burns is an absolute stud, so he can get you anywhere between 1 to 3 sacks a game. And then his ability to get after the quarterback can also create those turnovers with his strip sacks or forcing a poor throw from Marcus Mariota. And then they got like Dante Jackson in the back. He's not the greatest cornerback in the NFL, but he can can still jump on routes and turn those into pick sixes. He did that, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago against the Los Angeles Rams when they played them. So yeah, they got some guys that can create some turnovers and get after the quarterback, and I just don't really like that Falcons team. So that's why I think if you're like in the 12, 14, maybe 16 team league, you're looking to stream a defense, maybe look at the Panthers way. So again, my top streaming defenses of the week: the Titans against the Texans, the Colts against the Commanders against the Colts, the Falcons against the Panthers, and as well as the Panthers against the Falcons. All right, that is this week's top waiver wire ads and streamable defenses heading into week 8. If you guys enjoyed the video, as always, hit the like button. If you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button so you do know when any of my content is uploaded to the channel. As always, if you have any questions, hit up my comments. Slide into a DM on Twitter. My at handle is at CodyTalksNFL. If you got my number, shoot me a text, give me a call. I'll gladly help out with any fantasy advice that you may have or may need. And then, of course, you guys will see me next on Thursday morning when I give you guys my top starts and sits for week 8. That's when you'll see me next. But like I said, get in the comments, slide into a DM, text me if you have any fantasy questions. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace out.